Welcome to Chris's Journal, page 1. Our reasons for going on this trip. Bullet point number 1, to get away. Bullet point number 2, see Grandma Mitchell. Bullet point number 3, see Dad and Mary. Bullet point number 4, get away from work. Bullet point number 5, go to the Biltmore. It's a cloudy, humid, overcast morning. I had a 3-mile run in the humid darkness with the company of many small unseen critters scurrying into the brush by the side of the road. They scared me and I scared them. We get on the road at 7 a.m. Bon talks to Rick on her walkie-talkie broken conversation cell phone thingy. The trees are starting to change. It should be a pretty trip. The sun is starting to burn off the fog, and the trees are beautiful, yellows and oranges, but still a lot of green. As we drive south, page number 2, the colors soften. I'm a passenger, and am able to sit and make observations, such as, people driving to work have very serious looks on their faces, and all wear wristwatches. I have to remember not to look so deadly serious when I'm driving to work. Dead animals all lie on their backs. In Kentucky or Ohio, a sign for big bone lick. Ew. Haystacks like erratics. Stinking Creek Road. In Lexington, we saw half a deer next to the concrete barrier in the center of the road. Question. Was the front half on the other side? Rick calls intermittently on the intermittent phone. The latest report from his job site is that one of his coworkers got pooped on by a pigeon in the bell tower. Thanks for that information, Rick. Other observations. Page number 3. Barns full of tobacco leaves look like bunches of dead hanging birds. Oh my God, that's not tobacco. Traffic is stopped on I-75 just north of Knoxville. Up until now, the traffic has been light. We are moving at 2 miles per hour. Yay, we broke through a bottleneck, and now we can make good time again. We need nourishment and plan to stop at Cracker Barrel. Lunch was very good. Crowded restaurant with squealing happy babies. Suspiciously absent. Page number 4. At this establishment are minority groups. We start driving again, and the roads are starting to get windy. After consuming coconut patties and Buckeyes, we have a chocolate-induced, it's not our fault, it's the chocolate, fit of hysterical laughter. Shortly after our chocolate-induced frenzy, we lapse into a post-sugar-induced comatose state, glassy-eyed and quiet, as Bonnie maneuvers through the Appalachian Mountains. Page number 5. Notes. Mickey the waiter. All waitresses think Dad is a mobster, rolling in his white Escalade. We survive horrendous traffic as we enter the Statesville, North Carolina area. We survive this life-threatening experience by consuming dots. Bonnie prefers green, colored domes of gelatin. I don't think I've had dots since I was 7 years old at the Jerry Lewis Theater in Highland. We finally arrive at Dad's just as it is getting dark, going over enormous mutant speed bumps along the way. In the driveway, we see a pearl-white Cadillac Escalade. Wait, is that P. Diddy visiting Dad too? We put our bags in Grandma's apartment and go to dinner at a Chinese restaurant where a waiter named Mickey gives Dad a hard time. As we leave, we walk by the bar and several intoxicated Asian men speak to Dad in their best Brooklyn ease. Do they think he's an undercover hitman for the Cosa Nostra? Page number 6. Back to Dad's house we go with full bellies. Bonnie and I retire to Grandma's room where we read large print magazines and look through photo albums. Grandma loved her photo albums and would get them out every time we would visit her. It's hard not to have her here. I have a lot on my mind and have a fitful night of sleep. Her perfume lingers on her towels. We are planning to go to Tommy's track running event this morning and hopefully to go visit Uncle Emmett. The last time we saw Uncle Emmett was at our house on Azalea Drive, where his head hit the top of our basement ceiling. At the track cross-country meet, we watched hundreds of runners running their hearts out, especially the runners who are not naturals and have to work extra hard to finish. After the cross-country meet, we go to see Uncle Emmett and Aunt Phyllis. Uncle Emmett drives a 1973 Lincoln, gray inside and out. Uncle Emmett looks a lot like Grandma, but he's 6'6". He walks with a pronounced limp, apparently due to an injury suffered in the war. He talks about being at the Battle of the Bulge. We go to a cafe and have fried catfish and barbecue with coleslaw. His knee was fused. We get to know Tommy as we drive home from the meet. He's charming and goofy and still has a lot of little boy in him. He stretches out across the back seat and puts his head in the cargo hold and falls asleep. We are all tired when we get home and take naps in different places around Dad's house. Page number 8. Bonnie and I decide to go shopping at a local mall. It is such a privilege to have her as my sister. We make small purchases and end up at a cafe drinking coffee and catching up on some light reading, such as Everything You Ever Wanted to Know About Dead Bodies and True Stories of Survival. We like drama. After we return to Dad's, we have dinner and look at old photos. The Chicago Cubs are playing, so we go to the basement and watch the game. Dad thinks the basement smells kind of musty and tells us that he has to fumigate for bugs every 3 months. And soon we realize why. Page number 9. When Bonnie got up to use a restroom, she saw a gigantic centipede, which she says looks like moving hairball. She covers it with a piece of toilet paper and leaves it. Dad suggests chalking it. See the illustration, actual size. Okay, maybe a tiny bit larger than actual size, but it was dead already and had probably shrank somewhat as it dried up. So this illustration probably is very close to actual size when it was alive. Page number 10. Dad's cat Oreo cuddles with him on the couch during the game. The Cubs win, and we all go to sleep. In the morning, we will go see Grandma Mitchell. We all slept soundly and go to Grandma's care center. Bonnie and I are impressed with the place. It has a beautiful foyer and a village theme with an ice cream parlor, hair salon, painted murals, and according to Dad, 24-hour medical care. I can tell Dad has put a lot of time and effort into finding the perfect place for his mom. The staff all seem to know him. We find Grandma's room, which is sunny and bright, with her collection of dolls displayed in a case and Mom's pastel portrait of Grandpa on top of her hutch. Dad points to the picture and tells her it's her late husband. And she tells Dad, "My, he is handsome." We take Grandma out for brunch. She seems disoriented but happy. Grandma is dressed in pastel purple pants with a white turtleneck and beige sweater. Her hair is longer than I have ever seen it, but looks nice on her. Her fingernails are painted a rosy red, something Bonnie and I think she did not do herself, as we never recall ever seeing bright nail polish on her before. She wears red and white tennis shoes and does not seem physically frail. She is quick to smile. Dad orders her meal for her, turkey, dressing, and carrots, and she proceeds to eat everything on her plate, which amazes us, because the portions would have been too large for most men. Page number 12. We go to Dad's office, which has expanded, and Grandma makes a comment about how proud she is of Dad. I can tell they love each other very much. As we leave the care center, we walk by several older ladies who are residents. One of them looks at Dad, and as he walks by, she gives him the raspberries, which cracks Bonnie and I up. She wears a swishy blue sweatsuit. After seeing Grandma, we return to Dad's house, and Bon and I decide to go shopping. We go back to the high-end mall, where I observe An interesting mix of people. NASCAR fans, ladies with Gucci purses, and assorted Harley riders and teenagers. We ordered chips and salsa at a cafe where a pretentious man points to the menu on the wall when ordering to show off his Rolex watch. I'm trying to read the menu, but his watch is in my face. He drives a bright yellow Humvee. And orders, yes, I would like a skinny latte, no foam, with double extra tofu bean curd and a spinach taco. Make sure the rice is al dente and steamed in artesian Evian water. Does anyone need to know the time? I have a watch. Page number 14. We returned to the house and brought Mary some spider mums. Dad cooked mahi-mahi tuna from his trip to Florida with Jimmy. We retire to the cool, dark basement and drink alcoholic beverages while watching the Chicago Cubs lose to the Marlins. Dad and Bonnie sit side by side on the couch and flap their bare feet with shameful abandon. In the morning, I get up at 6 to go on a run through the neighborhood. When I get back, I catch Tommy as he leaves for school. He asks me how my run was, and I tell him it was great. He tells me goodbye. Bon and I have really enjoyed him. We call Dad at the office and have breakfast at Bob Evans. Mary is there too. The waitresses all flirt with Dad. We say our goodbyes and head off to the Biltmore estate in Asheville, South Carolina. Page number 15. Sitting on a porch with Bonnie overlooking the Smoky Mountains at the Biltmore estate. It seems the sculptors enjoyed sculpting female anatomy even on gargoyles. Bonnie and I take the rooftop, page 16, tour with about 10 other people and walk upstairs through narrow corridors to the top of the Biltmore, where the view is spectacular. We get to see the gargoyles and architectural details up close. At one time, the panels along the roofline were embellished with gold leaf. There is very little of the gold left. There are elements of Biltmore that rival the cathedrals of Europe, like the wood carvings in the grand dining room. It is the sculpture that I find most impressive. Paintings by Sargent and Boldino also amaze me. Etchings, engravings, monotypes by Albrecht Dürer. Wow. The green rooms are for guests. The rust rooms are for homeowners. The hotel gave us warm chocolate chip cookies. Bonnie saw bluebirds and wild turkeys. Page 17. Bonnie and I go to lunch at the Stables, a very nice restaurant where tables are arranged in the actual stalls where Vanderbilt's horses were kept. We have soft, warm brown bread and ice-cold Diet Cokes. I order a mushroom stew and a bread bowl. We finish lunch and go shopping in Biltmore Village. Both of us buy Christmas ornaments, birds with glitter and feathers, and I buy Tom saltwater taffy. We drive out of the Biltmore and past the Biltmore Inn, where I would like to return again. The grounds are magnificent, and the exit road is lined with stands of bamboo and old-growth pines. Bonnie and I have had a great trip, or vacation. February 19th, 2004, page 18. Tom and I are taking a much-deserved and overdue vacation to Las Vegas. This vacation is the first one we have had since our Montana, Canada trip in 2000. I decided to plan this trip after talking to Adam on the telephone. He asked me if I was going to go to his baseball game. How could I say no? Grandma and Gramp will be staying at the house watching the animals while we are gone. Our flight is early. We leave the house at 4 a.m. For some reason, we don't get an argument, which usually happens due to my morning grouchiness. The flight is long, but as we approach the Rocky Mountains, the scenery becomes beautiful and time goes by quickly. Page 19. The man next to me in the aisle seat keeps jabbing me with his elbows, and I am getting mad. Tom gets extra treats from the stewardess. Flirt, flirt, flirt. Page 20. Jimmy picks us up at McLaren Airport in his hoopty car with his chrome rims. AJ is in his car seat, shy for about 5 minutes, and then begins to talk fluently in toddler ease. AJ has big brown alert eyes and reminds me a lot of Jimmy as a little boy. He is very sweet. Tom and I pursue the shops at Mandalay. Then we meet up with Jimmy and family and go out for dinner. Adam is tall and handsome and smart and sweet and kind and full of energy. When I see him, I grab him and squeeze him, and he remembers me. We talk about baseball on the way to the restaurant. Dinner was happy. It's great to see Jim. Tom and I sleep like logs in a huge, wonderful bed. I wake up at 5:30 Las Vegas time and go on a run. It was probably the most interesting run I've ever been on. I went down Las Vegas Boulevard through an obelisk, past a sphinx, past several prostitutes, upstairs and over highways and back to the hotel. All this in 40 minutes time. Tom and I go to Caro's and eat breakfast across from MGM at Jimmy's request, and I see a huge black transvestite in the corner. We walk to Caesar's Palace. I buy lipstick and we go talk about watches at the Mont Blanc store. Bloody Mary's at 10:30 a.m. Page 22. Tom wants to play slots. 10:45 a.m. After spending a couple of hours at Caesar's, we go to the Aladdin, sit at Teuscher, and eat Swiss chocolate with coffee. I go on another run the next morning. This time it is raining, and I get to go to the lobby to see water pouring down. The doorman urges me to go for it, and I do. It is cold, damp, slow, slippery, but I'm glad to have gone. My shoes are heavy and waterlogged, and my hands are like ice. I'm so glad I went. The doorman congratulates me upon my return. He is from Brooklyn. Today we are supposed to go see Adam play baseball, but we get a phone call at 10 a.m. from Adam telling us the game is canceled. I tell him it's okay, but he sounds very disappointed. Tanya will bring the boys by the hotel midday, so I get another nap before they arrive. We meet Tanya and the boys in the lobby of the hotel, and they look adorable in their matching outfits. Shoes, sweater, jeans, all match. Adam runs to hug me, and I realize how big he is getting. Page 24. We decide to go to Excalibur, where there's kind of a Renaissance fair. We go to the arcade, and the boys play games and win lots of stuffed animals. Both Adam and Andrew are exceptionally talented at games involving eye-hand coordination. The people in charge of the game seem surprised that they are able to do so well. Jim, Tom, Tanya, and I meet for dinner at the House of Blues. Jim and Tom disappear to go play slots and come back after winning $240 in quarters. The next morning, it's raining again. We will spend today with Jim and family. Tom and I buy gifts for the boys. I find some art supplies for Adam and a t-ball set for AJ. Adam and I go to play baseball at a ballpark next to his grade school. He's going to be a little athlete. I have fun with him, and he is trying really hard, not afraid of getting in front of the ball. I'm seeing that he's a kind, sweet, funny little boy. When I throw a pitch that isn't in the strike zone, he calls me an old lady. He eventually gets tired, to my surprise, and is ready to go home. He tells me he wishes I lived right next door to him. It breaks my heart that I am not able to be a part of his life. We will miss this little family. At McLaren Airport, we are sitting in the dark due to a complete power outage. I don't know what we will do if the flight is canceled. The lady next to us is irate, using 4-letter expletives. Yikes, crowd crush fears. Page 26 and 27. Drawings by Adam and pictures.